Without further ado, I now call on Brian Heaton. The title of his speech is To Grow, Both Unlearn and Learn. It is from his Motivational Strategies, Level 1, Speech 3, Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language. Brian Heaton, To Grow, Both Unlearn and Learn. To Grow, Both Unlearn and Learn, Brian Heaton.
The most useful piece of learning is to unlearn what is untrue. That advice is 2,500 years old. It is from the Greek philosopher Antisthenes, who was a pupil of Socrates. But frankly, until 24 hours ago, I really had no idea how on earth you learn, you unlearn. I love learning, developing through learning, but I really had no idea how you learn. Now I know. To grow, both learn and unlearn. You can unlearn in one of three basic ways: through decay, through decision, or through revelation. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and very welcome again. From my research for this speech, I have found so many claims about unlearning. But the most useful advice comes from some from healthcare professionals. Now, unlearning is really on a spectrum or a continuum. But for simplicity and clarity, they divide it into three types. And I've simplified it some more and changed the order to something that I think is more logical. And so I divide learning into three types: decay, decision, and revelation. So first, decay. Over time, skills or activities may decline due to change or due to redundancy. And this is when you forget or no longer use or can no longer use a particular skill. Now, I must be frank with a personal example. For several years now, I have habitually used an online calculator. And I find now that although I can do basic mental arithmetic, anything complicated, I have really grown rusty and cannot use the skills anymore. And so that's an example of unlearning through decay. Second is a decision. And this involves deliberately giving up a particular activity or way of behaving. Now, a personal example again. Several years ago, I went to see my doctor about some symptoms, and he got some tests done, and he gave me some unwelcome news. I had a medical issue, which if I didn't do anything about, would probably get worse over time and could, over a course of years, become serious. And so I decided to lose a good deal of weight, and I had to unlearn my habits of what to eat and how how often to eat. So that was an example of how I first had to unlearn in order to learn. And I think those of you who are in professions or in work will often find that maybe there's new technology, a new system, a new procedure, and you have to learn the new one, but you have to unlearn the old one. And then the third is really what I call a revelation. Sometimes it's called an epiphany. And this involves abandoning something suddenly, usually due to an external event. So let me give you one example. Suppose that you suddenly find your wife or your husband or your life partner has been having an affair. Now, this may be a shattering blow to you, and you may decide that you have fallen out of love, can never share your life with this person again, you have an acrimonious divorce and or separation, and you detest that person for the rest of your life. I think we see that with Ukrainians. Brother Russia has their friends have treated them in such an abominable way that they will be hated now for generations. This is often the case too. You have a health crisis, you have a near-death experience, and you decide that you're going to give up your career. In other words, you unlearn in order to learn how to live your life every day to the full. And so, in summary, I presented learning in three types. Decay, which occurs gradually over time, decision, where you make a deliberate decision, and revelation, usually due to some cataclysmic event where you not only change how you act, what you do and how you do it, but you actually change your values and beliefs. So to grow, both learn and unlearn. Unlearn in one of those three basic ways, through decay, decision, or revelation. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you ever so much for that convivial speech, Brian Heaton. And it reminded me, when you spoke about the Ukraine and Russia, it reminded me about a quote from George Orwell. Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind. Unfortunately, it's not something to celebrate, but it's certainly what we should all put in our mind and remember for today and for the future.